everybody. Hello again, and this is The Real Deal with Kirk and
Cece,
today's topic, Cece,
is this the one for me and how do you know?
and that is what we are going to talk about today. So get ready to listen in and hear what we have to say.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And so we're going to get right to it. First of all, we're going to talk about the first thing everybody goes through, which is physical attraction and that natural chemistry. We all know we have to have it because that's the first thing that attracts you to a person is, oh, is he cute? Oh, I really like the way he looks.
I like the way she looks too sometimes.
And then we have to go on at it from there. Does he compliment you? Do you compliment him? Is this really something that's working out? Because in the beginning, it's always working out. Or do you get those little red flags like, he looks at you and go, you don't need to wear that much makeup.
Yeah, that is the kind of gesture we do put out every once in a while. I mean, we're trying to get up with a fine female, not Bozo the Clown sometimes, but, when you lay it on a little thick right there, it is highly noticeable.
Well, yes, it can be noticeable, but at the same time, I want a man who likes me for me, and if that's what initially attracted you to me, I don't need you coming to me trying to change me.
Yeah, I definitely understand that right there. But I mean, it's just when it comes down to preference and choice, that's the one thing about it. There's a lot of people who have a lot of things in which they do like and a lot of things in which they don't.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're trying to do is mainly go over the general points of things in which you want, which is love, respect, and happiness.
Oh, absolutely. And in order to get that, you've got to be aware of those red flags when they show up. Again, like that person that comes at you is, oh, babe, you really look good, but you know what? You might need to lose a little weight. Hold up. Wait a minute. You just met me. How are you trying to change me already?
Yeah.
Either you like what you see when you first meet me or you don't. If you like a heavier woman, then by all means, there's plenty out there for you to go find. If you like a smaller, there's smaller out there too. But don't be coming trying to change me because what you see is exactly what you're going to get.
Yep, and that's the biggest thing too, is just up here and how you approach. Because, I mean, one of the things in which a lot of guys have to realize is this. There are a variety of women. Take your time, look over what you have right there, and don't make the wrong move for the wrong reasons. That's the biggest thing. So you want a one-night stand or you want to go ahead and hit it.
Mm-hmm.
These are things in which you have to be very careful and very cautious about because you are going to get that kind of reaction. I mean, a lot of guys think, well, hell, I'll just go ahead and I'll hit whatever I can see and start throwing my line out. Well, you'd be surprised. Sometimes you might catch that boot while you're up here trying to catch it.
And true, and when you catch that boot, once you get it and what you pull in afterwards, you be like, that's not what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be the crazy one.
Oh, yeah. We know about them crazy ones, definitely, don't we?
Oh, yeah, we definitely do. And just like we always like to tell the women, be clear and upfront about what you want, the guys have to be the same way, too. Because if you get somebody who doesn't mesh with you, initially she looked great, she looked good. But then after, it's like trying out a car and you open that hood and find out it ain't running right. No, I ain't buying this. No, thank you. Send it back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing about it, too, is this. Because it's about going ahead and speaking respectfully, speaking kindly, going ahead and talking to someone right. Because believe me, as the old saying goes, you go ahead and catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And if you're going ahead and talking all kinds of mean and nasty stuff right there, that's what you're going to get back. You're going to get back a lot of hostility, but also you're not going to be able to know what the true person is about. And that's the biggest factor because now you're going to be getting all the wrong messages for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. And just because you out there, oh, I'm grown, I can say what I want to say. And this is going to be controversial, but cursing, just because you grown, don't mean you grown. I know when we was little kids, oh yeah, when I get grown and you turn into a teenager and you using every curse word in the book, whether you male or female, that doesn't prove you have any sense.
That's it. Because, I mean, the biggest thing is this. When you're speaking the same way in a negative, derogatory, and in a very nasty way, that also reflects onto you. That reflects about what other people think about you. Yeah, you're grown and you can say what you want, but you're automatically painting a picture of negativity around yourself. Because every word you say is the F word, the S word, the C word. Hell, go down the whole alphabet right there, and you're going through every word. And people see this, they hear this, and they automatically get an idea. And especially when you got some woman right there that you're really interested in and that you really like, and all they're hearing is everything other than nice words, intelligent words, or even words that you can actually repeat in public sometimes,
Yeah.
you kind of already are changing the situation. And I know that, yeah, there might be some females that, come off the cuff and say what they want to say. But on the flip side, is that what you want too?
Exactly, because number one, I want a person who's going to respect me. I want a person that's not rude and negative all the time, because if every time I go to speak to you or say, hey, how you doing, and it's a negative response, or if I just ask you, well, what would you like to go do today? And you got to respond with several cuss words before you finally give me an answer, then I'm going to be wondering, well, what's up with you?
Yeah, and that kind of throws off the mood real quick, because all of a sudden with words like that, yeah, we going out on the date, all right? I think not. That'll be the last thing which I'll be thinking about doing if you're already telling me about, every other word under the sun, and you decide that that's going to be the attitude you have. You already know what kind of situation you're walking into.
Oh, absolutely. And I can't say this enough. It goes for male and female. That old time double standard that men could be able to do what they want to do when they want to do, that's out the window.
Yep.
And if you want a woman who is a lady, who is calm and collect and, has her wits about her, then she doesn't want to be hanging out with somebody who's got that street mentality that, if you don't do this and you don't do that, then, it's like, F you, go, whatever. I'm like, come on now.
I mean, because that's the whole thing about it is this. Yeah, everyone always talks about being the thug, being the hard boy right there, going ahead and doing all the hard things. But that's when you were young and stupid. That's when you're going ahead and getting all kinds of crazy relationships. Mm-hmm. That's when you're having all kinds of messed up situations. That's when you got hooked up with the crazy girl that you can't get rid of now. That's where it comes from, is being the bad boy, being the negative boy. And you attract negative people that way. You attract people that's all it is about the game, about disrespect, about taking what they want, about getting what they want to have. And you've played that game too many times. And believe me, you've lost. Because if you haven't lost it right there, you wouldn't be worried about advice. You'd be living happy. But
exactly. And see, that's where, when you finally find that right person and you have to make those correct steps with her when, asking her what she likes, finding things you can do together, fun things that you can do together. And when you see a person or you have a man in your life that's doing these actual things, he's showing you that he truly wants to be with you. He's not that young boy that's playing those games and that's ghosting on you for 2 or 3 nights a week and you don't know where he is. He ain't called you. He ain't texted you. Or you're texting him and then he don't answer back. But when you have a man that respects you, he's going to let you know, look, I'm working on something. Won't be able to see you this evening. We'll get together tomorrow.
And that takes relationship to the next level too, because the biggest problem is that you're done with games. Games for children. And if you keep on having a relationship like a child, you'll never progress. You'll never find the person that you really want to be with. And a little bit of maturity doesn't hurt, because that means that you're going to have a stable household. That means that you have a partner right there in which you can rely on, that's going to take care of your needs right there, emotionally and physically right there. And that's the most important thing, is that you want to go ahead and get out of that mindset. No cursing, no fighting, no, I got to be hard, I got to be this. And who wants to be like that 24/7? It ain't about, us losing our being the man. It's about being a man in a calm environment where you want to be with your woman and you want to go ahead and enjoy a good life.
Oh, absolutely, because everybody has busy lifestyles. They're running their businesses, and you have to continue to make time with each other in order to get that, not just quality time, but that calm, peaceful time, because if you're spending time together and all you're doing is fussing and arguing, then that's not the one.
Exactly. That's the whole thing about it. When we talk about the one, it's about what are you choosing in a person. And that's why it's important to go ahead, have a rational conversation. None the cursing, none the swearing. Just go ahead and speak out. You can speak open. You can speak your mind.
Yeah.
But find out what that person's really about and take in that information and think about the fact that, do you want to be with this person right here? Because there's certain clues into what they're going to say and do that's going to tell you how long the relationship should really be.
Oh, absolutely. They're definitely going to give you clues, because if you're talking about, just say, hey, what do you think about children? Oh, I ain't never having no kids. But you truly want children, then he has just told you he ain't the one for you. You know, maybe
Yep.
down the line he might change his mind, but you ain't got time to spend the next 5 to 7 years trying to change his mind. He just told you what he didn't want to do.
And I'm telling you, ladies, the biggest thing about us is that what we say is not necessarily what we're going to do, but it's usually a golden rule. We will stick to certain guns. And with stuff like that, with children, with stuff like where we're going to live, or how we're going to go ahead and have a house ran a certain way, those are going to be the general mindsets that we're going to have. And believe me, trying to break those mindsets, as she said, that's going to take years. That's not going to be something that's going to come out overnight.
Oh, no, it's not. And I ain't got time to re-raise no grown man. If he has the mindset that, okay, when I get married and I come home, you're going to have dinner waiting for me and on the table. And I'm like, skirt, wait a minute, hold up. I work too. What are you talking about? First of all, if you coming at me where you making 6 figures or whatever, where I can stay home, and if I agree to it, then that's fine. But see, you have to listen to what he says, because some people come into a relationship with the mindset of what they saw their mother and father do. And they're thinking that's the way the relationship is supposed to go, instead of actually asking you and talking to you about what your preconceptions are.
And that's the whole thing about what works on the flip side about relationships, in which if you do have, as a man, expectations about your woman doing those things, by talking to her in advance, because there are women that will want to go ahead and cook, clean, take care of the house, and do those basic things. But you have to talk to the woman that you're with and listen very carefully.
Oh, yeah.
I have to repeat that. Talk to the woman you with and listen very carefully. Because all of a sudden, she's not going to go ahead and turn around and think, oh, so I got to go ahead and have food on the table, or I got to wash your dirty drawers that are sitting on the floor, or I got to go ahead and wipe your butt right there. Yeah, we might not see you too many times.
And see, the thing also may be this. She may not enjoy cooking. She might not be a good cook. Because when you first get together with somebody, unless she's been cooking for years, she's not going to be that skilled chef in the kitchen like it took your mother to become. And how long has your mama been cooking?
Hallelujah.
You know, and this girl ain't got that kind of experience. So don't be putting her down because she can't cook like mama, because she ain't got the experience.
Yep.
Give her the next 20 to 30 years and she will get there.
Until then, you start eating them TV dinners right there, bro.
You better learn how to help cook.
That might help, but might make things worse, too, for some brothers out here.
Oh, that is so true. So, you know, when you get into situations like that, you also have to look at the timeline and how quickly is your relationship moving?
Yep.
You know, if you're in the mindset, you know, I'm looking for somebody, I'm in the market to get married, and I'm serious. You know, you might be thinking, oh, yeah, I'm ready to have a baby and all of this. But then you meet somebody who comes at you and says, well, hey, I'm just going to see where this goes. I don't know what I want.
See, that's the whole thing when I say about talking, communicating, and then finding out exactly what that person is about. I know, come on, fellas, you want you. You want to get your thing done. You want to go and have it your way. But before you walk into that situation, listen, because you're going to find yourself in more of a headache and more of a hassle if you don't communicate with her, because you're sitting back there with certain expectations, she's sitting back with certain expectations of her own, and all y'all are doing is just clashing in ideas when all it took was just 5 minutes to find out what she wants to do, how she wants to live, what she wants to have in life, what's her goals. And believe me, a lot of those things might be things in which are going to go ahead and work with what you want in a woman. That these are the things in which you see. that she's a self-motivating, that she can go ahead and go get her. She wants to do the things that she wants to do in her life. And by knowing these things, you know that you can be more compatible or, on the flip side, incompatible.
Yeah.
And at least you're finding this stuff out first. And you're finding it out before, because you don't want to go into a 1 year, a whole 2 years, and then find out things are different.
Absolutely.
And those are usually the time periods in which you're supposed to be getting to know a person.
Oh, absolutely. That's when you're first getting to know somebody, you're getting to know what they like, what they don't like, how serious they are about, if it's the same thing that you want. Do they want to get married? Are they just looking to have fun? Are they just wanting friends with benefits? Or, I like you, but I ain't feeling getting married. Then he just told you he's not going to marry you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're serious about it, most people in my mindset, between 6 months and 2 years, they know.
Yep.
They know if they want to marry you. It is not taking them 5, 10, 15, 20 years later and 13 kids afterwards to decide that they want to marry you.
Yep.
And this is a very old saying, but it is oh so true. Why will you buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Yes.
Boyfriend does not deserve husband privileges. And you have to be able to draw the lines and say, hold up, we're just getting ready to know each other and all of this, and you want me to live with you and cook and clean, but that's what a husband gets.
Yep. I mean, that's the one thing. It's like boyfriend-girlfriend games can only go so far.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to go ahead and you think that you're having the good deal, but remember, in this day and era, women can go about their business at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And once you go ahead and take advantage of a situation for too long, that might come back and bite you in the butt in the ways you least expect.
Exactly, and that's what we're trying to help everybody avoid on both sides of the fence, whether you're a guy or a girl. When you start getting those stall tactics thrown at you, you've proposed to her more than once. But she keeps going, I don't know, I'm scared. She knows. She just don't want to marry you.
That's it. And I'm telling you, don't put any more investment into it.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing about it is this. It's about general happiness. And you're not going to be happy if you're constantly on edge.
Absolutely.
Because that's the biggest problem. You're sitting back there thinking, oh, she's the one for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then she turns around, and for every time that you're showing any kind of signs of like, any signs of concern, any signs of care, that she steps away, yeah, you might need to cut your losses right there.
Oh, absolutely. And the same on the flip side for the girls. You're up here trying to talk to him, and he's just getting mad, and he's freezing you out, giving you the cold shoulder. He won't talk to you, or you're trying to bring up something that's really bothering you, and he when he gets angry, it makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells, or he's calling you dumb and stupid. And you're just like, well, I really don't feel good. When you're around, I'm not happy. I'm sad. When you're with somebody and it's the right one, you don't feel like that. You feel the exact opposite. When you're with the right one, he's calm. You two can talk. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you're not going to have disagreements.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're definitely still going to get on each other's nerves. But
yeah.
You can come to a place where you can sit down and talk things out and come to an agreement and an understanding of, okay, we're trying to get here. We're not there yet. So let's work out how we're going to make this happen.
And that's the perfect way to go ahead and have a good, solid relationship. Because in life, there's a lot of complications. There's a lot of things that are going to be thrown at you. And the last thing you want is to go ahead and have relationship problems in which you have not resolved the simplest things. And that's usually what it all comes down to. Just going ahead, talking, communicating, finding out what's up, and then dealing with that. And then also knowing what you're getting yourself into in advance. And then knowing how to stick with it. Because there's certain changes. As a man, we got to make them changes.
Oh, absolutely. And as a woman, too. And the thing is, if you're with somebody and they won't talk to you, because there's some people out there, they're like, well, what's wrong? Oh, nothing. Well, hold up. Relationships run two ways.
Yep.
He has to communicate with you. He has to tell you what's going on. And it's not that he's asking permission to go do anything, but it's just being courteous to let you know, okay, well, this happened. I got to go deal with this. I'll be back. It's going to take a minute. Okay, fine. And then when he comes back home, is everything okay? Or, like when you talk to him a day or so later, did everything go all right? And he's like, well, yeah, it did. Instead of the flip side was, I had some business to handle. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about what I got to do.
And you're already asked for trouble right there.
Yep.
As soon as that comes out, because it forms distrust, it forms tension, it forms an animosity right there. And even though you might be going through something, maybe you might go ahead and say, honey, just hold on a minute, let me get myself together, and then come back and let her know. Because that way, by not going ahead and hiding anything,
Yeah.
you don't have that whole thing of deceit coming out there.
Exactly, because the guilt of omission is a really big thing. Oh, you go, first response is, oh, I didn't lie to you. Nah, you just didn't tell me. And when you don't tell me something, then guess what? My mind is grinding. It's twirling a million miles a minute because I'm running to a goal and I got to get there. But I'm expecting you to come with me. But then when you hit a bump and I can see something obviously is wrong and you're not telling me, then I have to fill in that gap. That's only natural. My mind is going to go to a place where, first of all, is it another woman? What's going on? Are you sick? You disappeared all night. Did you have a wreck? Where were you? If you have that type of lifestyle or a job where you work at night or you have to be gone away for 2 or 3 days and your significant other doesn't know what's going on, then of course their mind's going to jump to the wrong conclusion.
That's why I'm saying, listen up, brothers, because I'm telling you, what she said right there is the real deal. Because that's the thing that goes on in a lot of women's minds when it comes down to it. That's why I say it's important just to go ahead and say what needs to be said, especially if you ain't doing nothing wrong.
Absolutely, that's it. If you're not doing anything wrong, you should have no problem with just letting her know, look, I got a business deal here. I'm going to be gone. This is where I'm going to be. I'll call you when I get there. Again, you're not asking for permission to go do what you do. You're keeping her informed so she understands what's going on and she's not blindsided. Nobody can call her up in the middle of the night or send her a texting picture or, she looks you up on your Instagram or whatever and sees you pictured there or hugged up with somebody and she don't know who it is and you were supposed to be at a business meeting but you out at the club.
Yep, because welcome to the 21st century. That happens a lot more than what you think. And in fact, I know some of y'all have had this happen to you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the main reason why. If you're not doing nothing wrong, just come out and say what needs to be said. As I said before, you might be heated. You say your boss got on your nerves right there. Your car broke down. Let's say the dog bit you. You mad. And I understand. And that's cool. And you don't want to go ahead and talk at that moment. But just simply go ahead. Let her know. Not right now. I'll tell you in a moment.
Yeah.
Go ahead, cool off. Because if you don't, there you go. You just went ahead and had drama brewing. And that's what's going to end up happening. If you don't go ahead and speak out, say what's going, as they said, that needs to be done, what's happening, what's going on. And then that's also part of a good relationship. Because sometimes you do need to let things off your chest.
Yeah.
You need to go ahead and talk about the things in which you went through in a day. Or something that happened. Because sometimes it might help you with another perspective on the same situation. And that helps a relationship grow as well, too.
It does. It helps build trust. And that's the biggest thing in a relationship that's needed between two people is trust. Because if you can learn how to be vulnerable with your better half, and you come to learn that that's a safe haven for you, then you build more trust as time goes along. And then no matter what happens with anybody else outside of that, you know that you have someone you can talk to. You have someone where you can genuinely be yourself.
Yep.
And even if you feel vulnerable at that time, you know that I'm not going to be attacked. They're going to be understanding. They're going to be there to hold me up. If that's all they can do is just hold me while I cry, even if there's nothing they can do. But I know that I have that person that I can go to and just talk to them about anything.
And that's what it's about, having a good mate, having somebody in your life so that you can. It isn't just always about the up moments. It isn't always about the fun moments. It's about the sad moments. It's about the depressing moments right there, to have somebody who can support you. That's why it's good to make a good choice on who you're trying to get with. Because the last thing you want to do is then in the point of being vulnerable. I don't care what your problem is.
Exactly. Because that's the last thing you want to hear. Well, what's wrong with you? And that's all on you. Hold up. I have a situation where I'm hurting and I'm sad, and you telling me that's all on me. What happened to us working together? What happened to me being able to depend on you in my time of need?
And that's the whole thing about building a strong relationship, is that when you have those situations, for the up, for the down. Because, let me think. In wedding vows, usually they refer to both ends of the spectrum on this.
Oh, yes.
And in any good relationship, you want to establish it where you know that person before you get to that point.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why it's so important to get to know what a person likes, what they don't like, what makes them mad, what makes them sad. Because if you don't get to know the real person, you're just so caught up in, ooh, they got a flashy car, they got money and this and that. You don't know what you're going to end up with in 3 to 6 months.
Yep, because we've been there before on that situation. And that's why I said that was then, but this is now.
Yes.
And you got to go ahead and grow up and have a real relationship.
Yes.
And that way you go ahead and get away with all of that stuff. You can push all that aside and not have to deal with the craziness in which you have a person in which you don't know what's going on. You're playing the same old games. You're not making any progress in relationship. And all that could have been defeated by just talking to the person up front, finding out what they're really about, communicating, and then knowing what you're getting into. But also making compromises
Yes.
in areas in which makes sense. Again, for what you want. Just say some women, yeah, okay, so they want a bad boy. And that's what they want. But on the flip side, too, if you're a bad boy, you got to be honest about what you're about, too,
Exactly.
with her. And not play the game of being a bad boy and now all of a sudden getting your heart crushed because now she's stepping all on you.
Oh, yeah, because you were being the bad boy. Now you found out she's a bad girl, and both y'all is just mad. Because y'all are both out there playing with everybody else under the sun instead of talking to each other and saying, look, this is what I want. If both of you agree that we'll have multiple partners, then that's all fine and good if you both agree on that. But if you don't want multiple partners, be honest up front. Give that person the option of deciding that this is the type of relationship I want. And then when you do, you have a better understanding and you can make those grown-up decisions and move forward.
Because that's the most important thing. Because when you're talking about having a real relationship, this is a for real deal.
Yes.
And this is what it's all about right here. And remember, to go ahead and check out the website.
That's right. It's www.forrealconnections.com.
That's it right there. And good night, good luck, and stay safe.
All right. Have fun.